Hi everyone, it's Vicky here from createafashionbrand.com and fashionserviceshongkong.com. I'm going to do a quick update. I know I've said it last couple of videos about the boot camp, but I do get a lot of emails telling me I don't give you guys enough notice, so you're getting loads and loads of notice. It's in June and July of this year, split over a few weeks. The dates are on fashionserviceshongkong.com, but we're not going to open up the booking until the 1st of April so that you guys have enough time to kind of organize, go check out the dates, etc., etc. So you've had loads of notice. I'm giving you loads and loads of notice. So I can't get any more emails this year, hopefully. And a quick thank you to everybody who has sent me an email about my haircut. Um, Thank you very much. They've all been very lovely and telling me how much they love the new hair. It's mainly because I'm just getting old and it's getting a bit thin, so I've got to cut it. But thank you, everybody who has sent really, really lovely, kind emails through. But let's get on to some important stuff and why you're watching. And that's the question for this week. And it comes from Kirsty in LA. And Kirsty asks, is it easier to start a luxury brand than cheaper brands? Okay, Kirsty, so the system that we use for any kind of brand, or at least in my company, is exactly the same. It doesn't matter what level of market you're trying to sell to. It doesn't matter what your products are. The system itself is exactly the same. And it comes down to a couple of things. All successful brands, whether they are luxury or value or mass market, they all do a couple of things. They all have consistency across the board in everything that they do. And they also really understand their customers really, really well and design products for their customers that make their customers happy. So those are the two kind of key things that we look at in terms of the boot camp, or at least when we're working with clients. Now, there's other things that you need to consider as well, your core values and things like that, which I've talked about in a number of other videos. But there is no one type of business or brand that is easier than the other. They are just different. And the emphasis will be different in certain areas. So for example, let's say you're doing a really good value brand, kind of similar to Target or Primark, really kind of cheap clothing, but quite fashionable. And you get to the end and you're going to do your marketing, you're thinking about your marketing campaign. So for your marketing campaign, what the customer wants to know is you've got really good looking clothing, so it looks fashionable or it looks right for what they want, but it's a really, really good value. So you would do, let's say, a video or photos with them in a really quite lovely place, looking very stylish, fashionable, whatever, whatever suits your customer. But then you'd wow people at the end with the really cheap price, something they weren't expecting, and they go, oh my goodness, okay, I'm going to have to check this brand out. At the other end of the scale, when you talk about luxury, you're doing exactly the same thing. You're trying to get over the value of the product to the customer. So again, you would set up your videos or your photos showing a lifestyle, and it's the emphasis on this is more about lifestyle. You're promoting really wealth in luxury kind of brands. You're promoting people's good fortune and wealth and luxury living. So that would be the setting, that would be everything you'd have to consider about where you took your photos and your video. But in the opposite way to a value brand, you wouldn't put the price on. You wouldn't wow people with the price because the price has to be expensive. Otherwise, it's not luxury. People expect it to be expensive because it's luxury. You're selling the brand more than you're selling the product. So there's just a slightly different emphasis. Now, the only difference really in terms of how easy it is to set up a luxury brand compared to a value brand. Like I said, neither one is easier than the other. In fact, no business is easy to set up more than another. But where you have a really huge barrier to entry in terms of luxury brands is cost. It's all down to money. So if you think about the kind of photo shoots and marketing that we would talk about with, say, Target or Primark, they could be a lot more local, they can be a bit more everyday, they could be a bit more normal street shots, things like that. With luxury, you'd have to go on location, you'd need perfect makeup, lighting, the clothing itself, which is going to cost you way more to produce than cheaper brands. So the barrier to entry in terms of money is going to be a huge thing for anybody thinking about doing luxury. The other issue that you also have to remember as a barrier is that you really have to understand your customer, and that doesn't matter what business you are thinking about doing or what brand you're thinking about. Understanding your customer is one of the key things you can do for a successful business. If you don't really understand the mindset of somebody who shops in luxury, then the likelihood is you're going to get it quite wrong. Most of us could understand the average kind of middle class, everyday existence. But the same way that people at the luxury end, if you've grown up in a kind of luxury lifestyle, you're never going to get the value end of the market. The principles, the way people do things, the reasons that people buy and what they buy and why they buy it, they're just completely different things. If you don't really understand the culture that you're trying to sell into, it's not impossible, but it will be a lot more difficult for you. So I often tell people who have great aspirations of doing fashion week and things like that, you can be luxury, but you need to really understand the market and you need to have the financial backing behind you, and some really kind of good key proper advice, because whereas people will forgive things a little bit more at the lower end of the market, a little bit, they won't forgive it at the luxury end. So neither or no brand is easier than another. They just are different. And that's what you need to remember. It's all about hard work, and it's going to be hard to set up. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a bit of money, possibly a lot of money if you want to do luxury. But no kind of brand is easier than any other. So if you, like Kirsty, want to get in touch with me, then you must make sure you get on my email list. If you're not on it, why not? You get a free 66-page startup guide. Always good reason. Details are below in the description box. If this video has been helpful, I'd really love to reach more people. So I would really, really appreciate it if you wouldn't mind sharing or liking the video. And if you want to leave a comment, please do. I'd love to hear from you. And I will see you next week for another answer to another question.